Hi, and welcome to this video and see the light, easy wins to improve your asset framework experience. We have now done 5 of the 6 issues that the engineer picked up when we were going through our development that we've done in Power Vision and Asset Framework. First one being that FFS05 didn't appear as an asset in Power Vision, so we applied the template and that fixed that. The second issue we had was that the sugar grain size readings for form, fill, and seal machines 3, 4, and 6 were identical. This is because they'd been built using allow extensions and a copy paste. The copy paste is what led to the issue, so we disallowed extensions and based the sugar assets off of a derived template that took care of the naming pattern and all of that configuration. The third issue was that we had the incorrect units of measure applied to our sealer temperature. So we went ahead and told Asset Framework that the data coming in was in Celsius and needed to be displayed in Fahrenheit. The fourth issue is the one that saved us the most time going forward, where we used parameterized queries in our Asset Framework table, and we moved from importing 300,000 rows, and we now only import the rows that actually get queried. And then the fifth issue that we had, which was in our last video, we had a typo with MF Techno on form, fill, and seal machine number 4, and that led to us not being able to see the max throughput, the nominal max throughput for that device. So what we did is we applied a enumeration set and took the possibility of a human spelling the name of the asset incorrect, and we just created a drop-down list to work from. Now, our sixth issue wasn't so much a problem with the development in Asset Framework, it was more the way the display was built. So we'll go ahead and open up Power Vision, and we have this display called sandbox underscore FFS underscore monitoring underscore faulty title. So go ahead, open up that display, and the issue here was that FFS04 is packing sugar, even though we are looking at the information for FFS01. Hovering over any of our assets will show us that we are currently looking at FFS01 model or FFS01 throughput efficiency. We want to make it so that the title changes whenever we switch assets. Now, the way to do that is each of these parameters, the FFS04, the sugar, and the packaging, need to come from a variable in AF. So if we have a look here, we could say FFS04 could come from an attribute called asset. The sugar or salt word could come from an attribute named product. And then the packaging could come from maybe what part of the production line it's on. So we can just jump into AF in Power System Explorer and make sure we have those variables available for us. So looking at FFS01 for asset, we have FFS01. Product, we can see a salt, and production line is packaging. So we are going to use these 3 variables in our display to make a title that updates when we change assets. Now, all 3 of these pieces of information are coming from a data reference, which is String Builder. There is a little bit of a lesson after this video. That's probably a good idea for you to read through just to familiarize yourselves with the way String Builder works. Going into Power Vision again, if you want to edit a display, we change across to edit mode. So we'll modify the display. Currently we are working with asset FFS05. So when we navigate through our hierarchy, we want to select FFS05. Okay, and these fields here are currently set as just straight text. So if I want, I could format the text to type in what I wanted to say. I'm going to delete this just by hitting the delete key. And then we're going to build up the name using variables. So I'll take asset and drag asset onto the screen. I don't want it as a trend, which is the way it's what it's going to do now. So I can cancel that application and select value. By dragging the asset on as a value, I can see I've got the name, which is FFS05 pipe asset, the actual value and the time. Now, the name of the variable and the time aren't important to me, so I can right-click, format the value, and in my visibility, I can turn off the label, the units, and the timestamp. So all I want to see is the value. I drag it into position, and I can resize it. Okay, so I've put that there. And just to test it, if I go to unit 4, great, it updates. Now what we want to do is the same with the product and the production line, and I could do that process all over again, or I can just hit Control C to copy and paste it twice. Okay, and now instead of this referring to the asset, I want this to be what product we're working with, and this is going to be which production line we are working with. I can position the 3 of them, and then in order to make it a little bit neater, I can select 1, 2, and 3. In this arrange window, I can align the middles. Be very careful you don't align centers here, because that'll overlay them all on top of each other. So I align the middle, and then I can also distribute them horizontally. And that'll put all 3 of them equally spaced. If I save this and exit my build mode, I'm now able to change from FFS05, which is packaging sugar, to FFS01, which is a salt packaging station. Now, like we said, this isn't a particularly a problem with the asset framework. It was just with the way the display had been built. But it is always a best practice to have information around your asset incorporated into your variables, so that when you do want to build a display, you can say, based off of my asset, my product, and my production line, I would like to see what assets I'm working with on my display. With that, we have solved the 6 issues the engineer was asking us about. The next couple of lessons, there's some exercises for you to read through, just with information on the string builder. We talk about categories a little bit, which is how Asset Framework organizes the variables and how you see them in PyVision. And then there'll be a recap of what the issue was and what best practice was applied to solve it. Once you've gone through those pages and read them, we are going to work a little bit with asset analytics, where we will show you a couple of best practices when it comes to building out analytics in your asset framework.